Hi guys, welcome to Rootstem, and in this video today I'm going to show you just a little touches you can add to quickly painted miniatures, just to sort of set them out just a little bit differently and just to make them sort of stand out from that quick paint job. So I'm calling the video finishing touches, and basically what we're going to be doing is just adding little finishing touches to a very quick paint job. Now I've not completely finished these. If you saw the video from the other week, you will notice that these are the same models, and I'm basically just breaking it up so I can do several tutorials. 52 models at once is a bit of a stretch. I would not recommend anybody else emulate that. If you're going to do it, do 10 at a time. Wow. Right, so what I've done, if you've noticed the 58, I actually broke them into teams. And I am one of those guys that sort of, I like a team to be a particular way round. I like them to be armed a particular way. I'm not very big into the magnetising. I've got some Imperial Guard that need doing, and I'll probably not remagnetise it. I will on tanks. Don't mind the tanks, but the infantry sometimes I find it can be quite difficult. Well, but quite time consuming, especially when you're painting guards. You want to paint them quick like these guys. So what I've done, if you can notice at all, these have not been varnished, hence why I'm wearing gloves. I've actually put stripes. A white stripe followed by a coloured stripe on the shoulders. Now normally you can put a transfer on, but transfers can sometimes take time. For me, I like to use transfers with a lot of my transfers I like to use micro sol and micro set, which sometimes can take hours to work properly. So this is a really quick way to making sure that your squads look very different. So what I've got a purple team. There's 12 men in total in the purple squad. I've decided to go for an orange stripe, and he's not got shoulder pads. So what I've done is actually painted there. I've just found an identifying marker. I've even done it on some others where, if you can see from this purple squad guy, any of the wrappings have been done in the squad colours. This means that I can therefore identify which squad is what on the battlefield. It just makes it a little bit easier when you've got units mushed together, especially in the new game where you don't really have like a unit. Well, you can have a unit coherence, but you tend to find that you're mashing units together. You're not going to get confused, and you're not going to say that, oh, are these in this squad or are these in this squad? I've done that plenty of time. What I've also done as well is to distinguish certain elements, so like the characters. So we all know that a red team, which is a 16-man squad, all of them have got seismic cannons, I think. They've also got a banner, and they've also got shotguns. And the reason I've given them the banner and shotguns is because they're the team that's going to be going in. They're the breaching team. They're the one that's going to be going forward first. They've even got a couple of flamers in the unit. I'm going to be doing a different video on how to paint this in a classic 2nd edition yellow colour coming soon. And the orange team, the purple team and the blue team, they're all kind of support units. They're supporting the rest of the army that's going in, and these are just the ones that are going to be sort of like the close combaters. This is part of the 52 that I am painting. So that is a nice little way of identifying each in particular unit. Something else that I've done, you guys can see, is put little black dots on the end of the weapons. Now normally people say, well, why didn't you drill them? Sometimes drilling properly can take time. I wanted to get these done real quick, real fast. I'll be honest, it didn't happen real quick, real fast, but it did in the grand scheme of things. It did actually manage to, I managed to get a lot of this painted up very, very quickly, without a lot of fuss. So those, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Painting the little black holes in the end of the weapons stops me from having to, and all it is a quick dab of black paint. You just splodge it on, done. Again, it's a nice way to try and make everything look all right. We're not looking for Golden Demon here, but what we are looking for is some form of uniform and coherency. What I've also done with some of the squads as well, just so you guys can know, is certain members of the team have a sergeant. Now they've still got an auto gun. Unfortunately, a lot of these can look the same. Well, this guy here, I've just washed his skin with a watered down Druky Violet, and I've done it on another guy in here as well. and I'll show you how I did that on one of the orange lads. They're going to be one of the orange lads needs to be my sergeant. So he's kind of patchy. We only really need to do his head, so we'll do him. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my palette upside down because I wasn't able to. Tried to find one of these palettes and I found one on Amazon and it was like £5, and I'm like, I can buy those from £5 for £1 from my local market. So I'll wait until this coronavirus is buggered off. Right, so we're going to get our Rookie Violet. I've got an older brush for shading. I'm just going to put a blob on there. Apologies for the background noises. I'm going to get some water. And we're going to thin it down. Now, normally I've done about 2 part water to 1 part purple. It's because I don't want it to be a complete saturation. I just want a hint of purple skin going across the figure. Now you can see that's already darkened it off. The problem I've got with that is I think that's going to be too light. Sometimes when you put inks on, they either go one way or the other. So I may have put a bit too much on, but I'm still kind of trying to overload it a little, just so I get the desired look that I want. So we can leave that to one side. It's still a darker skin tone, and it'll still be identifiable on the tabletop. But if I just put that away for a moment, something else that you can do just to try and distract from any sort of quick paint job is adding eyes to a figure. Now, let's see if I can get this very, very close. You can see there, I have added eyes. Now, normally you'd think, why are you doing that? You're painting them quickly. Why bother painting some eyes in? Because it finishes models off, and it can be, it's annoying, but it can be incredibly quick to do. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that on these 2 little figures here. So what you're going to need for my really quick way of painting eyes. I know I've mentioned painting eyes on previous videos before. It can be really irritating, but I've got some white scar and I've got some Abaddon black. Now these are air paints, and the reason I use air paints is because I don't have to rely on dodgy inconsistencies. I know what they're like. I know that they're going to be quite, the white will work for one eye and then I'll have to reapply for the second, and then of course I'm going to be able to create a dot with the Abaddon black. Now bear with me, I never had to paint it in this direction before. So we're going to get the white. I'm going to get a little tiny bit. Now this brush is a, as you can see, it's a pure red sable from Germany, and it's a 3/0. It's very thin. And it's not a Games Workshop one because not all Games Workshop products are suitable for this. So I've got some on my, I'm just going to quickly just run it across there to make sure that I'm not having a blob. What I'm wanting to do is to paint a line. Now the only problem I've got with doing this technique is that you do have to be quite quick. The paint itself likes to dry incredibly quick on the brush. So I'm hoping you guys can see this. I'm hoping I'm not messing up, and that nearly went wrong. There you go, you've got 2. Have we got it on? Yeah, we've got 2 white lines. I'm going to try doing it again. And one of the reasons I like using the air is that it comes off very quickly. You kind of just I have no idea if I got paint on that one. And this is an incredibly difficult way of painting. I don't recommend it for people. Yay! I'm probably going to have to redo these after I've shown you guys how to do them. Make sure you can rest your hands. Alright, that'll do. Now, as you can see, this guy's got some teeth. So again, just... Uh-oh. Okay, I made a mess. Now, if that happens, what I'm just going to do is to put a little bit of watered down Reichland flesh shade in there, and it almost separates it all up. Oh. So, ignore the tea for now, but it's because I'm having to use this. I'm having to use it in a very odd section, a very odd way. Normally I have it over my shoulder. Right, so we're next, of course, is Abaddon Black now. We tried to make sure we didn't do a blob. In this one, we kind of want to make a bit of a blob. We're not wanting something huge, but we are wanting a tiny bit of blobbiness. Now, move the camera. No. Oh. Honestly, when I do this without the camera, this is amazing. Doing it with the camera's a bit, boom. Oh. Right. I've moved myself. I'm going to see if I can get it right in this position. So just making sure I've got it right on there. There we go. That works a lot better. No. Oh. Well, when I'm not recording, that works well, to be honest with you. And then when you've got the black open, this is where you can add. That's all I use is Abaddon Black. I basically got an older brush, created a dollop at the end, if you can see that there, and just dab. Oh look, done. And the same from that one. This one's slightly bigger. Just effectively doing the same thing. Just dabbing it around, making sure to leave a bit of a trim. It's not perfect, but again, the models that we've made and painted aren't perfect themselves. So, next up, what we're going to do, we'll do a bit of airbrush for the basing. Now, if you don't have an airbrush, you can actually just use dry brushing for this particular technique. And what we've got is some Steel Legion drab. We've thinned it down, and we're going to apply it to the base first, and we're going to catch the boots, and we're going to do this on purpose. This is so that we can create a bit of a muddy effect on the actual boot. Now, if you want to put some, dry brush, some Steel Legion drab onto the figure as well, you can do, or maybe even catch a bit more, maybe with your airbrush if you want, and that should create a muddy effect, and it'll hide some of the imperfections that you've done during the rush paint job. As you can see, kind of looks like he's got beginnings of mud on his boots. Next up on this process, now we've got our bit of dry mud on our booties. We're going to be doing the base, and we're going to be catching just a little bit on the boots. And the idea is that it's fresher mud towards the bottom and cleaner mud towards the top. I am using Rhinox hide for this. That way, when it dries, you might have to go over the base twice with the Rhinox. So let it dry, go back over it, and then of course you'll actually have some lovely mud effect on your boots, and you don't have to be that careful while actually doing your boots. Again, if you're not doing it with an airbrush, dry brush works best. Now that's been done. So we've got our mud And then of course you've got a bit of a darker area, and then what I've done is just dry brushed some Tyrant Skull over the top, and that just picks it out. And then of course I've rimmed the actual base. Now you could, what you can do sometimes when you're when you are putting a black line around the base, you can actually use a colour. So what I could have done is, for the red guys, I could have actually done a red line around the base. That gives you a visual representation of which squad is which when you're playing the game. Just a little hint, it's not something that I do anymore. I used to. I think my Elder Guardians, because they're all painted the same, have 3 different base colours. I've got a black, I've got a like a reddy colour, and then I've got like a bright blue, and then I've got a dark blue. I don't try to go for too many bright colours because it does distract from the actual look of the army. But it's just a nice thing to try and differentiate. I'll probably go back, and when I eventually get to be able to repaint them, I'll probably do them more as a shoulder pad colour than anything else. Now, one other thing that we're going to be doing is looking at how we can change some of the weapons. Now, the bigger heavy weapons, remember I've not varnished yet, which is why I'm wearing my gloves. The bigger heavy weapons do have some details. I've got like little vent areas, and all I've done with the heavy weapon is just to paint it silver because I'm trying to get it through quickly. The weapons are big enough for you to be able to identify which weapon it is, and I'm going to be having a tutorial on how to paint the flamers. But this is just going to be something just little that you can possibly do with the contrast paints. I'm going to be looking at hitting certain areas of the certain weapons. I mean, we've got a power axe here from the actual big sergeant as well. I'm just going to be touching that with a little bit of greyish white, and then when I've put the greyish white in, I'm going to go over it with the contrast paint. Again, I'm going to be using an airbrush. You can do this with a dry brush and then just paint on the airbrush colours later. The contrast paints. So I'm going to get all the weapons that I need. So I've got 6 mining lasers. That's because I've got 4 squads in total. And mining lasers are my go-to weapon for these teams. There we are. I'm going to move all the rest to one side eventually. And what we're going to do with these guys is we're going to give them a little bit of a pre-shade highlight, and then we're going to give them a weapon effect. Okay, so got a little man. We've got our Vallejo Game Air White, and I'll be honest with you, that's the best white for airbrushing I have ever come across. It's nice and thin. Don't get me wrong, I've still got some Games Workshop Air White, but that's mainly to do eyes. This stuff is really, really nice. It's very easy to use, and it flows really, really nicely. And I'm looking for a tiny, just got it right. Make sure that the tip is clean, especially when you're doing a white. And we're just gonna get as close as we can. We're just going to put a little bit of a white in there. I'm also going to do a tip, but what I'm going to do is do it that way and that way. So it's away from the figure, and I'm not going to be putting any white on that model. Always make sure that, again, if you're using a white, just make sure that the tip's clean. It's so annoying. So that's going to give us the highlight, the white, and it's also going to give us the feathered effect that we're actually after as well. So do that on all of them, and if you're copying me exactly, this one, there's some vents there, there's a little thing there, and all this is going to be highlighted up with the white as well. So just be careful on this bit. Because all we're wanting is that little nubbin that's sticking out. I'll try and avoid any white on the arms there. So next stage, get your model. get your Blood Angels contrast red. Put it straight into your airbrush. Make sure there's nothing on the end. And then slowly pull the trigger back. I don't want too much, I don't want to flush it. There we are. If you're doing this with a brush, just put it on by hand. And you'll notice that you get a nice sort of like that white is making it brighter in certain areas, and then the rest just looks like an after image glow. There we are. Right, I'll do the rest of the reds. And next is the blue, which is Tal Asar blue. There we go. And you've probably seen me do this before if you've watched the painting video for Crimson Fists. Now, I'm going to kind of do it in a bit of a circular motion there because I am wanting it to catch slightly on the arms. There we are. Only a tiny bit, if you can see that. But it's only a tiny bit caught on the arms, but it's enough. It's enough to create that cheap objective light source. Come on. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. That's why it's always handy to keep a toothbrush on hand when doing this. There we are. And that looks cracking. One benefit of using it straight from the pot, you can put it back if you've poured out too much. Benefit. And there you go, there's part of Red Squad all done up in the finery, all done up with weapons and everything else that's good about them, including a bit of a banner bearer there that's purple, because you can see. I'm hoping you can see anyway. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Like I say, keep your squads separate. Those flamers at the front as well. I'm going to be showing you how to do a retro style flamer in next week's video. So please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button if you do want to see more. And this has just been titivating and touching up just your squads, just to make sure that any fast paint job always looks great. Apologies for the grass sticking on the things, I've only just varnished them. Right, well, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next time.